Bringing a relative from overseas to the United States as a permanent resident is an exciting, difficult, and confusing process. In this video, I'm going to address a few of the very basic concerns of bringing a relative from overseas, but there's a lot more to it than what can be addressed in this short video. To begin with, eligibility. If you are a U.S. citizen over 21 years old, you can bring an immediate family member from overseas to the United States as a permanent resident. The person overseas must be a spouse, parent, child, or sibling. No other relatives will qualify. It is the same process for all of the relatives, but the processing time can be different and the evidence required is different. The process starts with a petition for an alien relative, and that requires you to prove the legal relationship to USCIS. For a spouse, you must prove that it is a bona fide marriage based on love and not to avoid the immigration laws. You're going to need more than just a marriage certificate and a few pictures. But there's no minimum or maximum amount of evidence and no magical amount of evidence that guarantees you an approval. To bring a parent from overseas, your birth certificate showing that that's your parent is required, but you may also need more evidence for a step-parent or a father, depending on what's on the birth certificate. That evidence can include documentary evidence of proof of the relationship, and it can also include DNA testing that meets a certain standard. The same evidence is going to be required to bring a child from overseas. For siblings, you're going to need your birth certificate and the sibling's birth certificate showing the same parentage, but you may also need additional evidence if these are step siblings or even DNA testing to show that this is in fact your sibling. In a petition by a United States citizen for a spouse, parent, or child who is under 21 years old, the visa is going to be immediately available, meaning as soon as the evidence is accepted and approved, that person can come to the United States. In a petition for a sibling or a child who's over 21 years old, the visa will not be available for a few years. For permanent residents, they can sponsor spouses and children from overseas, but the processing will take a lot longer than for United States citizens. Approval requires more than just the basic evidence in completing the forms. The evidence is critical, and any mistake can lead to long delays or denials, or even your relative being permanently barred from the United States on an accusation of fraud. After that initial petition for an alien relative is approved by USCIS, the process is not over. You still must complete an affidavit of support and an immigrant visa application, and your relative must go for an interview at the embassy overseas. All of these points in the process create more opportunities for delays, denials, and other problems. The process is confusing, it's complicated, and it's long. I can help you with each of these steps of the process. If you're thinking of bringing a relative from overseas, call me and we can discuss what I can do to help you get that relative here as quickly as possible.